लैग है क्या?
इधर नहीं आ रहा है फोटो।
हाँ, वीडियो भी नहीं आ रहा ना। नहीं बन ऊपर को कर दो शायद। Right. So in this week we have discussed about, first of all, what do we have? Topic was in news, that is narco test as such. Okay, cyber slavery, broad infrastructure, a related topic we have. The first is related to narco test itself. Okay, it was news because recently Supreme Court has given a judgment. Okay, judgment has come when Supreme Court was hearing a petition related to a order passed by Patna High Court. Okay, this year itself. In the Patna High Court, the order was passed in the context of Amlesh Kumar versus State of Bihar. Okay, it's 2025, same year. Now, what Supreme Court has done, it has stated Okay, that narco test which is conducted by police, okay, or investigation agencies, that is forced nature. That means without taking consent of the person who is undergoing this test, or if it is involuntary, okay, same thing basically you can say, that will be deemed as unconstitutional. That means it will not have any significance from the perspective of proof, evidences and all that in particular cases such. Okay, and why Supreme Court has taken this decision? Because they have stated that any kind of forced or involuntary narco test, it basically what happens, violates article 20, okay, and article 21. So this is why simply it was in news. And now the question comes that what is narco test? Simply narco test is basically you have use of sodium pentothal, okay, that is a chemical that is used, okay, and then you have barbiturate that is administered to the person. Why it is done? Because if you introduce this in the body of person is not in the control that he can lie something, okay. When you are lying, if you're lying, you have to actively engage your system, okay, consciousness, right, so that you are not speaking truth. When your inhibitions are low, what will happen? You will be forced to speak what is truth, okay. Your brain will not work to convert it into what you can call as fake statement, something like that. So lower inhibition reduces conscious control, and that is why the information that you're not giving deliberately to the police related to any case, whether you have conducted some crime or not, whether you have seen some person committing crime or not, you will not be able to lie there, okay. That is why it is done. Similarly, other method also you have would have heard about polygraph, okay, because in polygraph it measures different parameters of your body, like heartbeat. When you lie, what will happen? Heartbeat will be elevated, right? Pulse rate, talk about how you are breathing, everything is kind of changed. So polygraph test or brain mapping test, when you are lying, what happens? Certain area of your brain becomes lighted, okay, if you're studying the brain as such, because you are engaging that area. Or non-violent investigative method, many times we are also using, okay, by pressurizing people to speak truth as such. So one of those method that is used by police or investigation agency to extract information is narco test. But what is the decision? Voluntary. It should be voluntary. It should not be involuntary. It should not be forced on the person who is undergoing it. Right? Why forced narco tests are problematic? Supreme Court has said that it violate what clause? Free consent. Okay, free consent clause, individual autonomy, it is violating. Ethical concern also you might have studied in ethics about the Immanuel Kant's philosophy, where it says that if there is no free will behind any action, it can be considered as what? Morally invalid. So on moral ethical ground also it is violated as such. The dignity of accused or fair trial principle, it is violated. Okay, democratic system, it says basically democratic system is not only about punishing the guilty, it also has to ensure what? Balance the right of victim and the right of accused. So in the Indian legal system or jurisprudence, there is a right given to accused against self-incrimination. That means you are not expected to give certain evidences or a statement that will incriminate you. That means that can put you into jail as such. Okay, so that is given under Article 23. No compulsion to testify against oneself. Narco test exactly is trying to this, if it is being done forcefully as such. If person is doing willingly, that means obviously he has decided to do so. Article 21, it violates right to life, personal liberty, privacy. Narco test without consent violates this particular right itself. Okay, personal liberty, privacy and all that. And then we have Golden Triangle Doctrine was established by Menaka Gandhi case, very important case, where Supreme Court interprets Article 14, 19 and 21 together. Okay, that is equality, you have freedom, rights and right to liberty. Equality, freedom, right to liberty, all of these have to take into account whenever any decisions is being taken based on the violation of right itself. And in this case, what Supreme Court has stated earlier, violation, it has taken much more broader approach toward the individual freedom as compared to early judgment. Now Supreme Court stated that violation of privacy is equivalent to violation of personal liberty as such. Okay, and under Article 21 it is protected. That is why this is the reason that is taken. As far as the legal position is concerned, we know that after CRPC was scrapped and now we have brought in Bharatiya Nyaya Sanhita, Suraksha Sanhita. So under section 253, voluntary narco test at defense stage is allowed. But again, what is the term? Voluntary. Okay, so legally also voluntary is allowed. No indefeasible right to demand narco test. Okay, police cannot say that you have to undergo narco test as such, okay, or cannot compulsory ask people to undergo like this. So free, inform, without coercion. If this is the method through which narco test is being conducted, then it is right overall. Several judgment we have in the past also related to same. One I already told you. What doctrine? Golden Triangle Doctrine. Okay, equality, freedom, right to liberty. Right. So that is taken into account. Second is Selvi versus State of Karnataka in 2010. Narco test without consent, unconstitutional nature. Already High Court has stated this. Second, results that you get from this narco test is not directly admissible as evidence. It can be only given as a supplementary proof. Already you have collected a lot of proof evidences and all that. This can be supplementary in nature. You cannot just use narco test. Someone has said that yes, under the drug he has stated yes, I have committed this crime. That itself cannot be considered as a proof and sufficient proof to put that person in jail. And the reason is simple, because if someone is under the drugs, in one way you can say, he might not be speaking something which is also not true. Right, he might be speaking false also. Okay, because when people are under the influence, what happens? They are not able to control anything, so they might say anything as such. So we cannot 100% rely, right, whatever is being spoken during the narco test. Similarly, Manoj Kumar Saini versus State of Madhya Pradesh 2023 judgment came. Narco test result require what? Independent corroboration. Okay, Amlesh Kumar State versus, we have discussed State of Bihar, that is under which the Supreme Court has struck this provision. Vinod Bhai versus State of Kerala, that was other case in 2025. We know why. Okay, do not prove guilt. That is what Kerala High Court has stated. Just narco test alone do not prove guilt of individuals. Second, it cannot be substantive evidence, cannot be main evidence. It can be just supplementary to some major evidences. Right? For example, if murder charge is imposed against certain accused, if you find a murder weapon with his fingerprint, right? That means pointing toward facts. CCTV camera has captured it around that area, and then as supplementary proof, you are also putting narco test. Then it can be used as such. Okay, just simply narco test itself, you cannot use to prove the guilt or innocence for that matter. Second topic was related to what? Cyber slavery. Okay, cyber slavery basically relate to like where people are taken by certain organized crime group and they are forced to work as a fraudster. Fraudster means they are forced to carry out scams by targeting citizens of India. In this case, we talk about. So what Indian police have done? They have arrested two individuals who are linked not with Indian cyber slavery gang or cell, but international cyber slavery racket as such. Where this operation was being conducted from? Myanmar. Myanmar and Cambodia has the biggest such kind of OC gang, organized crime group, which taking part in the cyber, what you can call as cyber crime. Okay, overall you can say like digital arrest scam, all these things that you have, like phishing a scam, stealing credit card information a scam, OTP based scam and all that. They are being run from Cambodia. Now Laos also we are seeing it spreading, and all these countries share border. So now we are seeing bases in the Myanmar also. Thousands of Indians have been trafficked. Understand? First of all, Indians are being targeted where money is stolen from someone's account. Okay, by posing, someone is posing as a police officer, they are threatening them saying that we have found a parcel in your name where you have drugs, okay, or some narcotics is there. Okay, if you need to give me money, okay, to verify your trail and financial trail and everything like that. So those are being targeted. Now obviously if a person from outside of India, okay, try to target someone, obviously Indians will not understand this. Basically they understand it is a fraud. Why? Because obviously person who is from outside India cannot be Indian police. So who do they need? Indians. Only Indians can what? Claim to be Indian police. Okay, that is how it will be more convincing in nature. So many people are being trafficked and they are forced to run what? Online scam as such. And the biggest racket we have seen now developing in the Myanmar. Cyber slavery, what it is? Nothing but modern form where you have human trafficking earlier was done also, where people are, for example, we talk about beggars. A lot of beggars are nothing but victim of human trafficking as such. They are forced to beg on the road. They do not even get all the money they collect. They have to give it to who is running this racket and all that. Now same thing is being done, and the people are forced to participate in cyber crime. The money that is taken by the organized crime groups. They do not get anything as such, or they maybe get very small portion amount that can sustain themselves. Victim process talk was lured with what? Fake IT data entry job. They did not say that we are taking you to do fraud and all that. Otherwise no one will go. They say that in Myanmar you will get very handsome salary. You will get 100,000 rupees. You have to simply do some IT job, some data entry job. Okay, people many times if they are not having job, right, they are in trouble. Right, suppose they have a lot of loans. What do? They try to find whatever way possible. So many times they fall prey to such kind of scams and such. So they're trafficked across border, and then because once you cross the border, they take your passport, they take your documents and everything, right? And they this threaten you that if you try to run away, we will kill you and all that. So in that case, what will happen? They will have no other option but forced to do whatever they are saying as such. Okay, so location is fortified cybercrime compounds being run. And in Myanmar also, why? Because we know that in Myanmar what is going on? Civil war is going on. So government does not have control. As far as the law and order situation is concerned, it is very bad there. So obviously organized crime group, terrorist group, they will be having this advantage. Now scam wave, how the racket operates, simple fake job ads. I told you victims are flown to Thailand because Thailand it is easier connectivity, right? Then from Thailand, same I told you, passport is seized at the airport itself. Illegal transportation by border town because you have land border. So Myanmar, Cambodia, Laos, illegal trafficking is done, right? Because suppose Indian person is taken from India and you are trafficking him by legal crossing through Myanmar. Myanmar government will have what? Or border police will have what? Data that this Indian entered Indian into Myanmar but did not exit. So police will be on the lookout, right? Now, if they are going through the illegal border, there is no record of them entering in Myanmar at all. So it becomes difficult for police also to identify where the person has gone and all these kind of things. That is why it is done here. Confinement in armed cyber compound, where they threaten to participate there. Okay, same thing, cryptocurrency fraud, okay, romance scam, fake investment scam, phishing, identity theft, digital arrest scam and all that. And the people who are participating in this kind of scams, they are being tortured physically, physical torture. You have what? Sleep deprivation, right? People are not willingly doing this, okay? Why? Because obviously they know there is a risk, plus they are not getting anything in return. Many times they are working 12, 14, 16 hours and all that, nothing, getting no money as such, right? Passport confiscation, prolonged captivity and threats and all that. So all these things is being done, okay, in the Myanmar as such. The scale of crisis is over recently 300 plus Indians we have rescued from Myanmar itself. People who are working forcefully as a cyber criminal. 4,000 plus total Indian have been rescued if you consider the entire three countries, Myanmar, Cambodia, Laos. In Cambodia, it is so big that not only Indian citizens, like they have targeted all the countries. So for South Korean again, how will you convince? How will you carry out the scam in South Korea? You need to have South Korean criminal. Then only he can talk in Korean language, in their language. How will you do crime in China? You have to need to have Chinese citizens. So they are running such a big racket that they have trafficked South Koreans, Chinese, Indians, Pakistanis, Bangladeshis and all that. And they are running a scan at international level covering all the countries. Thousands and thousands of crores of revenues. Okay, these organized crime groups have been able to collect by running this scam. Okay, and the why we have been falling prey to this, because if you look at in last 2 years, we have data of 70,000 plus Indians who are traveling to these countries only for what? Getting job. Okay, and many of them become victim of such crimes. They're coming from different states, Gujarat, Haryana, Tamil Nadu, Uttar Pradesh, okay, all these areas and all that. Question is, why Southeast Asia? One we have discussed. In Myanmar, already civil war situation is going on. That means instability of political nature is there. No law and order situation exists here. Right, weak state control, that is the point we have discussed. Plus criminal networks are very well developed. If you remember, I told you in some classes that golden triangle you have. Golden triangle, that is made up of which countries? Laos, we have Myanmar, we have Thailand. Okay, so already there is active organized crime group, terrorist network, trafficking gang and all that. That is why they have expanded into new area, because they have seen how lucrative can be cyber world itself, okay, cyber space itself. So that is why they are doing human trafficking, cyber scam center. Plus also other reason is all of these areas are well connected by border, plus land border. Not land or entire land border is secure, because a lot of areas which is made up of dense forest. You have the riverine networks and all that. So you can easily infiltrate and enter the border without getting caught by border guards or border police. So if you are doing human trafficking, what do you require? Such kind of porous border, which is easier to infiltrate, easier to cross. That is why this particular reason. Third topic is related to recently Shok tunnel was in news. Okay, very, very important from mapping perspective. Shok tunnel. Defense Minister has inaugurated this tunnel as such. Which region this tunnel is located? Eastern Ladakh. Okay, so Eastern Ladakh tunnel is largely a strategic area, because through this tunnel we can then deploy our military. We can bring what? Logistic supply, tanks, whatever you want, right, to this area. Why we are interested in building our military capabilities in this area? If you look at the map, it will be clear. Okay, this area we know, this is called as what? Line of actual control. This side it is Chinese control, Aksai Chin as such. So if China try to infiltrate India, which area it will choose? This area. We have seen border incursion many times. In 2020, you have Galwan clashes, right, between Indian security forces and Chinese People's Liberation Army and all that. So this is the region. Now if you look here, okay, this area is where you have Shok. Okay, why Shok? Why we have tunnel? Because using this tunnel, we can go all the way up to here. What is this place called as? DBO, Daulat Beg Oldie. It is India's northernmost Air Force base. Okay, so Air Force base, and this side, just on this side, if you look, what do we have? Aksai Chin. Okay, so if we want to secure our border, we want to secure our base. How will you secure our base? If any threat emerges, we should be able to supply military, okay, with all the logistic, arms, ammunition, tanks, whatever is required here. and that is why this tunnel will play a very important role, because it connects it with what? Leh region. Leh already is connected to what? Jammu Kashmir area, right? So from that throughout the entire area we can then provide seamless connectivity, right? So very, very important. Pangong So Lake we have discussed in class, that is lying here nearby, okay, in the Ladakh. Some part is in India, some part is in China as such. So this region is where you have the Shyok tunnel that we're talking about. Now briefly we talk about this tunnel. This is an example of which kind of tunnel? Cut and cover. Cut and cover means cut and cover means suppose that you have this kind of mountain or this kind of terrain as such. What do you do first? You dig it. After digging, what will happen? You will create this kind of depression. This entire area is completely removed as such. Okay, so you have gap. Now you construct tunnel here. Okay, by using all the this whatever you use, iron, this rod and everything, cement and everything like that. Then you construct a tunnel. After constructing the tunnel, again what you do? You fill up the entire area around tunnel as such. Okay, that is what you call as cut, because first you are removing the soil, removing the earth, that is cutting, and then further after construction of tunnel you are further again covering it under soil, covering it under different materials and all that. So almost 1 kilometer and 920 meters we can say is the length of the tunnel, and it is obviously because we are talking about the Ladakh region. It is high altitude area. So tunnel is located at the height of 12,000 feet in the eastern Ladakh. Already we have seen in the map nearby Aksai Chin region itself, right? So Darbuk, Shyok, Daulat Beg, Goldi, I told you that is the connectivity close to which area? Line of actual control. Okay, so LAC with China, that is where we have constructed the tunnel as such. Now, what is the significance of this tunnel? So first of all, the most strategic Air Force base, Daulat Beg, already we have discussed. It is providing only surface connectivity. If suppose by some reason you are not able to use the tunnel, how can you access this airport? Only by aerial route. You do not have any land connectivity. Only connectivity is through Shyok tunnels. That is where the significance lies as such. What is the significance of DBO? We have discussed northernmost military outpost of India. So we need to ensure that this does not fall under the hands of enemies during the time of war. So we have to make sure that it remains safe, it remains operational for Indian Army, Indian military, Indian Air Forces, and that is where we have the significance of Shyok tunnel. Border surveillance, securing access route to Siachen glacier. Okay, Siachen also is very critical area, because one side of Siachen, who do you have? Pakistan. Other side of Siachen, what do you have? China. In case of Pakistan and China join hand and try to attack India, you need to secure this glacier region. Okay, that is how you have advantage, because Indian military is at the higher location, and from the valley areas and other plain areas, if the both forces are coming, you have advantage. That is, you can see the movement and all that, you can attack them easily and all, right? So that is why we have to ensure that it remains in our hand. For that, DBO is very important, and for DBO what is important? Shyok tunnel is very important. So logistic artery, we can say, it is very, very important logistic artery. If you talk about Shyok tunnel, for what purposes? For the operations, military operations, in which sector? Ladakh sector, okay, eastern sector of India as such, okay, and that is the point. Purpose of tunnel is same, ensures all weather connectivity, because you have roads also. The problem with road is that in the winter time, entire road is covered with what? Heavy snowfall. So only connectivity through the roadways, mountain passes that you build is in the summer season. In the winter, you cannot pass through it. Tunnel is what? Inside the surface. Okay, that means no matter how much snowfall is going on, tunnel will always be free. Okay, and that is how it provides year-round movement of troops. Okay, all-weather connectivity simply means year-round troops can move through the tunnel. They can access Daulat Beg, Goldi and all these areas. Bypass the same thing, heavy snowfall, or if avalanche is taking place. Because suppose like this is the road, pass road. Here, if heavy snowfall happens, avalanche happens, what will happen? Avalanche destroy road also. So for many days, connectivity is compromised. This is not a problem with tunnel-like structure. Landslide, avalanche, same thing. Heavy snowfall, tunnel provide protection against this. Mid operation, supply chain, same thing. Troop mobility, operational readiness, rapid force deployment and all that. Overall, we can say as far as India is high altitude warfare is concerned, in the eastern Ladakh, Shyok tunnel is acting as a term that is used as force multiplier. You have certain advantage, okay, certain we can say this force in this particular area, and you are using tunnel to what? Multiply your force as such. It overall amplifies and this increases your capability. Okay, that is the advantage of the tunnel. Okay, so from the examination perspective, what you have to keep in mind? Mapping is the most important. All this, okay, there will not be direct question means that I discuss the insignificance of CO tunnel and all that. But in prelims examination, mapping based question can be asked, right? So that is what you have to keep in mind. Strategic relevance, same thing. 2022, I told you, Galwan Valley clashes happen where India, China, military were in standoff. Okay, first time in many years, India and Chinese forces clashed with each other. Clashed means they basically beat each other with the batons, sticks, stones and all that. Because as per the Indo-China border agreement, the use of lethal weapons are not allowed. That means neither Indian forces nor Chinese forces can use guns and all that. With Pakistan, we will not have such agreement. So along the Pakistan border, you will see generally every day you will have news of ceasefire violation. Okay, because Pakistani military launch attack, artillery attack, strike, bullet strike, and all that. China will not have any kind of lethal weapon use and all that. Strengthen India's border infrastructure, deterrence posted along LSE, reinforces commitment. India's commitment to what? Infrastructure-led border security. Earlier we did not pay too much attention, but now we are changing our approach. The region is the development of infrastructure by China. Along the entire northern border, eastern border, if you look, China has been developing at a very rapid rate. They even now have initiated project that will connect Xinjiang region that you have in the upper part to the Tibetan region as such, right? So all of these development will provide China, obviously it shows it as a economic infrastructure, but other purpose also there will be what? Military deployment, movement of troops and all that. So India cannot be lagging behind, otherwise we will be at disadvantage if China launches surprise attack. And it does all the time. In 1962 also we were caught off guard, right? Because we're not prepared for having a war with China. Even at that time, Hindi Chini Bhai Bhai slogan was going on. Jawaharlal Nehru, the then Prime Minister, never believed that China can attack India and all. So such kind of surprises are very common in geopolitics. Thus, we need to be fully prepared for that. Next topic is related to National Intelligence Grid, okay, or NAD grid it is called as. NAD grid we have discussed in the this is what in call as terrorism related chapter in internal security and challenges. Now what we have seen in the recent time that the data request per month has kept on climbing as far as NAT grid is concerned. Okay, what is NAT grid? We'll discuss that, but for why it is news? Because we have received more than 45,000 data requests, which is all time high as such. National Intelligence Grid is receiving it. Plus users trend is continuously growing. And the data that you are getting from the NAT grid is being used by both agencies. Which agencies? Central agencies as well as state police as such. So it indicates increasing reliance on real-time intelligence sharing for internal security. Now what is NAT grid? National Intelligence Grid. Simply, if you try to understand here, it is a type of a platform, okay, that provides us with what? Real-time integrated intelligence information. Central government agencies, state government agencies, they are sharing real-time data with each other. Okay, example is, suppose that in certain city of India, what has happened? A bomb blast has occurred, right? By looking at the CCTV footage from nearby areas, we're talking with the eyewitnesses and all that. Police has drawn a sketch of an individual. Okay, that person used to look like this. Who is the terrorist? Who is behind this terror attack and all that? Now this data is with local police only. If it is not shared quickly with other agencies, it can be taken advantage of by the terrorist. He can go to the airport, take the flight and simply leave India. But if the data is in the real time being shared with the airport authorities, if his photograph is matching with his overall personality, he can be caught at the airport itself, or seaport for example, land port for example. So what will happen? You will have higher chances of nabbing the culprit, nabbing the terrorist. That is why real-time information exchange becomes very important. Obviously, because entire internal security of India comes under which ministry? Ministry of Home Affairs. Okay, so the NAT grid also works under the Ministry of Home Affairs, links multiple government and private databases. What does it provide? Access to secure, authorized access to the law enforcement agencies of India as such. What is the purpose? It was brought in after 26/11 attack of 2008 as such. Okay, a lot of changes were done, like NIA was brought in. Okay, so we have discussed that in classes, what are the changes made. So one of the changes was introduction of National Intelligence Grid to counter terrorism, organized crime, and even these days cyber threats are being tackled, okay, by using the data here. Same thing, 2009, because 26/11 attack occurred in 2008. So under P. Chidambaram, who was the Home Minister at that time, the initiative was taken to set up NAT grid. 2023, however, you can understand how slow we are working. The idea was mooted in which year? 2009, concept came. When we operationalize it? Full operationalization in 2023 as such. So it took a lot of years, but anyway, it became fully functional and now it has been open to wider agencies. Now, what kind of data is collected by NAT grid? Data that is linked with Aadhaar, okay, Aadhaar data, driving license big data, then you have financial data, then you have telecom internet data, okay, where you have used the call, what kind of mobile, which area you are present in. Suppose a terrorist is there who has been tracked. What do you need to know? Whether the person is really behind the attack. One thing you should do is what? Look at his mobile. Mobile means SIM connectivity and all that. If his SIM and mobile was present in the area where attack has happened, then we can say that yes, there is one more action to confirm it, right? Then we have airline PNRs and immigration logs, because a person who is radicalized, who is committing terrorist attack, he must have or might have gone outside of India, where in countries where you have the preaching and all that is done here. Like recently we talked about Australia, we have seen a attack carried out against zoos, right? You might have heard about it. So person before committing the attack traveled where? To Philippines. Why he traveled to Philippines? To participate in such kind of radical preaching and radical this connectivity with the people and all that, okay? So this you need to know clearly, because if you are understanding that people are going to Philippines, for example, you will be more alert where these people go. At immigration you can then, if you have this what you can say, some kind of suspicion, you can stop the people, ask them why you went to Philippines, okay, what you did there and all that. So you will have better understanding whether the person is radicalized, not radicalized, why he did, what was the purpose and all that. Plus obviously the first, today in the modern world, the first indication of radicalization of an individual is reflected where? Social media and digital footprints. If you are radicalized, you will be liking such kind of comment, you are sharing such kind of video, okay, who is preaching violence and all that kind of thing, right? So by looking at your social media digital footprints, people can, or people means law enforcement agency, they can understand this, right? So that is the point. That is why if you talk about US, they have said that if you want to apply for US visa, you need to give access to what? Your social media. They will understand and try to see what kind of person you are, okay, what kind of post you are sharing, whether you are having anti-American stance or not, right? If you are having you written something about American president or something about American politics and all that, okay, they can use it as a this reason behind denial of your visa and all that. So these are things being done here. Secure access by authorized official. Who can access data? Not every official. He should be of what rank minimum? SP rank. Any individual or official below SP rank will not be having access. So SP, IG, DIG, all these rank. Second, for collecting the data, FIR is not required. It is automatically based on the discretion of agency can be made available to them. Enables what kind of intelligence? Predictive intelligence as such. And it also help you in analyzing pattern. Okay, that if you have 10 terrorist attacks happen in India, we can see that all these people who are radicalized, who have carried out the attack, they were following a particular person, they were sharing this kind of social media account and all that, okay, they're this interacting with the particular handler and all that, they have traveled to these places and all that. So by this kind of analysis, what you will do, future such kind of attacks can be prevented, because you have identified the pattern and all that, right? So that's the overall purpose of NATGRID. Which agencies? Again same, IB, RAW, NIA, okay, these agencies you have. Then apart from that, you have ED, Enforcement Directorate. FIU is Financial Intelligence Unit, okay, Financial Intelligence Unit. DRI, that is this Directorate of Revenue Intelligence. NCB, that is Narcotics Control Bureau as such, okay, plus state police forces. So central government agencies as well as state police forces, all of these can share data with each other. Federal Policing Corporation, that is example of uses advanced cyber security protocol, protect sensitive data amid rising cyber threats as well. So that is the example of interagency coordination. What is the significance of NATGRID? Obviously, it acts as a backbone of counter-terrorism effort by the government as such. Okay, India's intelligence system reduces what time? Investigation time. Earlier, suppose before the era of such kind of data transfer, if a attack has taken place, suppose in Karnataka, Bengaluru and all that, if intelligence agencies of central government has to be involved, how they'll collect the data? They have to come to Bangalore, first of all, fly, meet with officials, okay, personally go and talk with people. That takes a lot of time. Now all the data that state police has, all the data that IB has, all the data that DRI has, it can be exchanged in real time. So in a very quick time, you will have a comprehensive data related to that particular individual. That means it will become easier for you to again catch the person, understand his behavior, understand the person, reason behind terrorism and all that. Strengthen probing terrorism, narcotics, financial fraud, cybercrime, that we can understand. Empowers state police as intelligence parity is there. Why? Intelligence parity means it is not only that the central agencies can take data from state police. State police, if they require in their investigation, can also take data from central agencies. So parity means both are considered equal here. Both can take data from each other as such. So it empowers state police, improves overall national security preparedness, right? Then next topic that we have is India-Nepal joint military exercise. Okay, that is conducted recently again, Surya Kiran 19th edition 2025. Okay, maybe we have discussed that in the earlier classes also, right? So again, same thing. So India-Nepal joint military exercise, Surya Kiran 2025, where did occurred? Where it was conducted? In the Pithoragarh region of Uttarakhand. When or in which year exercise was initiated? Such exercise, such cooperation? 2011. Okay, so since 2011 we have continuously carrying out Surya Kiran exercise. What is the objective? Sub-conventional operations under UN Chapter 7. Sub-conventional operations means which is one grade below full-fledged war. Okay, so all such kind of operations we are trying to do here. And what kind of operation? The focus is on management of conflict and also for the keeping of peace as such. So, for example, along the border areas, okay, we have discussed along Indo-Nepal border, okay, or many times along Indo-Myanmar border, what do we have? A lot of insurgent groups are active here. So, suppose insurgent groups have carried out attack inside the Indian territory and now they have fled to Nepal. In that case, Indian security forces cannot directly enter Nepal and start doing their operation. They have to engage who? Nepali security forces and all that. So suddenly if the need arises, you cannot engage Nepali security forces because you never have interact with them, you never have understood how they work and all that. So such exercises provide what? Avenue where you can understand each other's way of working, where you can learn from each other. Nepali security forces can learn from Indian forces can learn some skill from the Nepalese forces. Plus they have conducted joint operations, so it is easier for them to coordinate, cooperate with each other if they are planning to launch some kind of joint operations and all that, right? We have done that with the case of, in the case of ULFA, United Liberation Front of Assam. We carried out joint operation with the help of Bhutanese army. Okay, we carried joint operation with the help of Bangladeshi Rangers and all that. How we were able to do so easily? Because we have conducted a lot of such kind of prior drills, okay, prior exercise and all that. Trading component was focused on keeping in the mind the terrain that you have. What kind of warfare? Jungle. In forest area, how you neutralize threats, how you neutralize any kind of imminent threat, ranger and all that. Plus we know that Indo-Nepal border largely is also which kind of border? Himalayan border. Himalayan border means mountain terrain. So how will you carry out counter-terrorism operation in mountain terrain? This is again critical for both the countries, okay, because large areas under mountain. Then what else do we have? We know that Himalayas are one of the most fragile mountain in the world. Fragile in the sense always you have some disturbances, tectonic disturbances take place. Due to this you have large scale earthquake, landslides, floods and all that. So during that time, many times for example, people who are moving in the mountainous areas, they get trapped. So both forces, Nepalese forces, Indian forces can collectively launch which kind of operation? HADR. HADR means Humanitarian Assistance and Disaster Relief Operation, right? HADR, Humanitarian Assistance and Disaster Relief Operation. Plus for the wounded, people who are injured, what we can do? Medical response can be given to them. So it will amplify our effort. Plus environmental conservation we can also focus upon. And last, we carried out this operation, this what you can call exercise, by integrating both ground troops as well as aviation operations, okay, both aerial as well as ground-based operation we have conducted. So these were the major components, training component. Then we have unmanned aerial system that we have used, drone-based. Again, we have discussed ISR. We have been using AI-enabled decision support. Then what else do we have? What else do we have? Unmanned logistics system, and then armored protection system. So these were the new technology that was used for the first time in this particular edition, that is 19th edition, right? Earlier we were more focused on conventional form of exercise, conventional form of training and all that. Now by looking at the same thing, Operation Sindoor, and what followed later was attack by Pakistan. What Pakistan used to attack India largely? US, drones. So even you talk about Russia-Ukraine theater, largely the war of the 21st century is being fought through not by military intervention, not by putting food on the ground, soldiers on the ground. It is being fought by technology, right? Drones are being controlled hundreds of kilometers away from the control center, and they are then being used to attack and penetrate inside the enemy territories and all. So we have to be ready about this, and that is why we have included all of this. We can see from here. Artificial intelligence is playing also very, very important role, because it can collect, gather and analyze data at a very rapid scale, which is not possible by humans alone, right? So all this we need to incorporate in our defensive as well as offensive strategy. That is why we have done here. As far as the India-Nepal defense relations is concerned, 1816 is when we signed the Treaty of Sugauli. That means during the British time itself we can talk about. And under this treaty, what we ensured that in the Indian Army, Gurkhas are basically a group of Nepal, so they are inducted. So we have Gurkha regiment in Indian Army today. All the Gurkhas coming from which country? Nepal as such, and they are very ferocious warrior as such, right? In the entire Indian Army, Gurkhas are considered as one of the most lethal regiment. Okay, so that is why British understood it, British saw it, and then enabled them to be incorporated in their military. Okay, because 1816 we think it's not that British are looking at the interest of India. That time you have British Indian Army. British Indian Army means you have the entire army fighting for the interest of British. That is why they participated in World War I from the British side. They participated in World War II also from the British side and all that. That is why they inducted them in their regiment. Then after independence with Nepal again we signed what kind of treaty? Peace and friendship. And as far as the national treatment is concerned, India gives national treatment to citizens of only one country, and that is Nepal. National treatment means they have the freedom to move anywhere in India. They can enter without having passport, visas and all that. Free movement regime basically we can say has been established along the border. Plus they can reside anywhere in India. They can get residence proof, Aadhaar card, okay, and all these kind of things. They can trade, they can buy property in India also. So all of these facilities have been given to them, and all these facilities are largely given to people who are national or citizens of India only. But now we are giving it to who? Nepali. So this is the special and privileged class of relationship or friendship we have with Nepal, and that is the significance of the defense relations also. What is the significance of this particular operation? If you look, obviously, what is the region? Pakistan, I have told you many times, Pakistan is using which route? Nepal route, okay, to send what? Narcotics, to send what? Fake Indian currency note, to send weapons and all that, right? Even some terrorists have earlier entered from the different borders as such, right? Because from Nepal side, Pakistan side, we have more strict border, right? So there it becomes difficult to infiltrate. So Nepal is being used as a launching ground. So by having such kind of exercises and joint cooperation with Nepalese forces, we will strengthen our border security. Interoperability means working together. Launching joint operation becomes what? Quite easier if you have interacted earlier. Enhances what? Counter-terrorism and same thing, disaster response that is required due to the shared terrain, which is mountainous terrain and all that. Reinforces kind of ties. Again, it goes back centuries and centuries ago, and then it reinforces cultural, military and strategic ties. Both countries have enjoyed since many years. Overall, it also support what? Regional stability as such. Okay, so these all we can write as a signature. And now if you look at few questions from the topic we have discussed. First is about national intelligence grid. It enables real-time access to multiple databases for authorized security agencies. Autonomous statutory body under the Ministry of Defense allows intelligence analysis even without registration of an FIR. What is the correct statement here? 1 and 3. Okay, because we have discussed it is working under which ministry? Ministry of Home Affairs. First is correct because real-time access to multiple databases from different organizations, financial data, Aadhaar data, right, and all that here, migration data. Intelligence analysis is used without registration of FIR. That is the significance. Second, we have talked about the Shok Tunnel. Okay, recently inaugurated in the eastern Ladakh is strategically important because which of the given region? This already have discussed. Located along which route? Same route. Second, what do we have? Provides all-weather connectivity or not? Whenever tunnel is there, generally it will provide all-weather connectivity, and that we have discussed. Third, it connects Ladakh directly with Himachal Pradesh. That is incorrect because it is connecting to Leh region, and then from Jammu and Kashmir you have connectivity. So basically, what is the correct option? 1 and 2 only, right? That is the second point. Third is with reference to narco test. The first topic we have covered. What are the following? Which are the correct statement? First, forced narco test valid as said by Supreme Court of India. Which article? 20 clause 3rd of the Indian Constitution. Second, narco test results are admissible as conclusive evidence in courts. That also is incorrect. In the judgments we have discussed, several judgments are there. It is clearly stated it cannot be admissible as conclusive evidence. It can only act as a supplementary, right, proof as such. Third, a narco test may be conducted with the voluntary consent of the accused under existing law. True or false? True. Bharatiya Nyaya Suraksha Sanhita. There it is clearly mentioned that voluntary, if person want, he can undergo narco test, then it will be permitted. So first is correct, third is correct, second is incorrect. So what is the correct option? 1 and 3 only. Okay, so that is how questions can be framed here. Last, if you look at the significance or importance of topic, NAT grid becomes very important because it is directly related to which chapter? Which subject? Internal security, where you have terrorism, organized crime and all that, especially after 26/11 attack. Many time question has been asked in prelims mains examination that what are the steps government has taken in the recent years to tackle the threat of terrorism or organized crime. So one of the major steps taken is NAT grid. Okay, it has completely changed the way how we used to analyze data, information and all, and we used to prepare our strategy to counter the terrorism and all these threats as such. So steps taken to counter terrorism, there you have to enumerate about this, because in 23 they have just launched it at full scale. In next couple of years question can be asked about the efficiency, whether it has been working the way how it was designed or whether it has failed, if there is some loopholes, okay, some deficiencies and all that. So from that perspective also you can prepare about it. Second is narco test, not very important, okay, but from pre-based question can be asked the way how we have framed the question, which article is valid, Supreme Court has given which kind of judgment and all that. In mains it is more related to which topic? Polity, because here again you have the examples that you can quote if question is asked about what articles, which article? Related to life, liberty, equality and all that. Okay, so in polity also many times they are asking questions that seem static, but you cannot just write a static fact. You cannot just describe what does article 20 says or 19 says. You have to also add what? Examples, okay, especially if it is from the current example, like recent years, what is the judgment from Supreme Court, what are the new laws Parliament has made and all that kind of thing. Cyber security again related to directly internal security. In mains question can be asked about what topic? One of the threats, new threats that is emerging in the domain of cyber security is what? That we have discussed, cyber slavery, right? Cyber slavery is also cyber threat, because who is the victim? Two victims you have, one who is committing the crime under the force and one who is being defrauded. Both victims are from India themselves, okay, so double victim you can say actually, right? So that is the very important point, and especially in the context of digital arrest scam that you are seeing every day. You look at the newspaper of 1 week, at least 1 or 2 days of newspaper you will see some scam related to digital arrest where people are being targeted in India. Bangalore, because you have so many people, okay, with good job, money and all that. Many times you will see news from Bangalore, crores and crores of rupees people have lost because of digital arrest scam. Okay, so you have retired officials, retired banking officials, okay, IT people and all that, right? Even recently they have targeted some TV actors and all that. They lost about 2 to 3 crore rupees in the digital arrest scam. So it is becoming very large in scale, and the problem is that people are not committing the crime from within India. Catching them also becomes what? Difficult. If they're operating in certain areas of Myanmar where no rule exists, no law exists, right? So they are basically what? King of that area. So challenges are continuously increasing as far as the domain of cyber space is concerned. Suryakiran we have discussed, not very important, only what you remember. Question can be asked, match the following question can be given. One side you have 3-4 exercises, other side will have the name of countries. So which exercise India conduct with which country? Suryakiran will be mapped with what? India and Nepal as such. So that's it. Then we have last is again from geography. From mapping perspective, question can be asked about location of Shok Tunnel, or which places, which this airfield or this military outpost of the India is connected by Shok Tunnel as such, right? So that is how we can prepare as far as this particular week's current affair is concerned, right? That's it.